I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is the body beyond the realms of dream, that fleeting shade under the corpus. I don't know what that means. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. There are multiple ways to get your song reviewed, dear listener. My favorite way is the community option, which is what was chosen here. This is the True Cult Alliance. Now, what in the world is an alliance, and how do you become part of one? Very, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. What happens is, you will notice with other reaction channel, and shout out to them, you should go like, share, comment, subscribe other reaction channels because it's amazing. And those guys are hard workers. But what happens is you'll notice every 20 or 30 seconds or so, the channel will stop and then they'll talk and then we'll start the song again. And what ends up happening is, you see an ad at the beginning of this probably, right? It's probably a horrible Biden ad or a horrible Trump ad. And what happens in that situation is you get a cut and Google gets a cut, right? Well, when you listen to the song all the way through from start to finish, you get this nifty little notification from Google or YouTube, and they say, hey man, your channel is completely fine, but you listen to the song all the way through, it popped the record label, so now what happens is we're taking our cut.
Don't worry, we're taking all your money.
We're taking our cut because we're a billion-dollar company, but you are getting diddly squat because the record label's taking it. So what ends up happening is your cut goes to the record label. So we try different things. We try to do the stop. Like if you listen to the early days of Vin and Sori, we cut it up and things of that nature, but people really didn't like that. They were like, yo, just continue going straight through. And so we make very, very little money on the next to nothing on that because it keeps getting taken. So what ends up happening is we start a Patreon, $1 the gate gets you in. You join an alliance. You get to create different alliances based on genres. This is a true cult, and their alliance is the like black metal, doom metal type of thing. You pull your points together, and that influences what songs we do. Hence this song right here. If you're a filthy capitalist like Sori and you don't want to do that, and you're like my man Jehael or like my man Daniel, and you want to hop, skip, and jump in front of everybody, then $125 at the gate gets you that.
There's an option for you.
And then after you do that 3 times, it goes down to the $75 rate. Okay, but this is a true
I went to Disney one year, and we actually got fast pass options because my mom was feeling so sick she was in a wheelchair. And they gave us fast pass options just because she was in a wheelchair. I'll tell you what, after that, I said, I will never go to a theme park without doing the fast pass option. And you know what? My father said the same thing. He was like, this is great, because he kept going to the head of the line. Yeah. But we are capitalists. Okay, you guys, I have a huge big pile of vitamins privilege that I have to take during my pregnancy. So I'm going to take it with you guys, because it's always easier to take it.
I've had enough. Let's go.
We'll start it.
Nobody cares about your vitamins.
Yes, they do. Such a happy song. They should put it in the next Disney movie.
The video was very entrancing to me.
Creepy?
Well, because they kind of had this loop.
I know.
When he was going up the steps, they had this. So
I'm like, is he ever gonna get to the top and do whatever thing he's gonna do?
I think it was Scary Stories is what it was called. It was like this little like horror fiction series I used to read when I was, let's see, Port Malabar Elementary, 5th grade. But you know those stories where you get to choose your own adventure?
Like your own ending? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, like you choose, go to this page if you want to go here, go to this page. Okay, so there was one story that terrified me as a kid. And it was basically this woman, this old woman, and she was like a witch or something like that. And you're working in her house, and basically you find out she's a witch. Did I break it? No. You're working.
It's just so dark in here.
You're
it's
working.
Black.
You're working. Well, we're trying to keep it dark. You're working in her house, and you find out that she's a witch or something like that. And then she basically says, "Don't touch any of the china. You know, just clean the house and leave." And then it's one of those things that's like, do you touch the china or do you not touch the china? And like, she's sitting in the chair watching you clean and all that, and then she gets up to go, and then you have the decision, you know, clean up the china or not, or I mean, mess with the china or not. So sure enough, I'm like, I want to see what's so special about this china. So you go, and while she's gone, you just pick up the china and all that. And then she goes, what are you doing? Like, she's right behind you. You didn't hear her. Well, you drop the thing, and it shatters the china, right? And then she goes, it was just so, I don't know why. The way the guy wrote the story was so crazy because I was, like, terrified. Like,
oh my gosh, Johan would love
she was like
books.
this old lady. And so, like, she basically goes and sits back in the chair, and she goes, well, you'll have to sweep up that china, every last piece of it, before you leave. So, so you're like, oh, yeah, sure. So you're sweeping up the china, and you notice that no matter how much you sweep, the china's still on the ground. And then basically the book says, you stay there forever with this woman watching you, and the china never gets... You know,
Ooh.
That was like terrifying. It was one of the scariest stories I've ever read. So like when I was looking at the video, it was like on this loop. He was like trying to get up the stairs, but like he always ended up, you know, at the you know. I mean, eventually he got up, and then when he was walking across the street, like he couldn't get there. It made me think about that book, and I was like, damn, like that's. I don't know why that was so scary. Like always like moving, but never being able to go anywhere. Or progress. I don't know why that was so bothersome to me. But anyway, the video, I thought the video was really, really good. They did a really good job.
I thought of two things when I saw that video. One was that guy that showed up to that person's house we know, and then the guy was all scared and ended up scaring his wife. And
oh.
I thought of that. That's why when he was standing in the street, I was like, don't come to our house. And then the other thing...
You should probably explicate that story a little bit.
What?
The dude that would like stand guard for your friend? You talking about that situation?
No, I don't even know what situation you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about that person that recently had someone show up at their house and they were like scared, and so instead of handling their business, they like went in there and scared their wife and then called the cops, and like the poor wife is terrified now and can't rest, and I'm like,
the home invasion or whatever.
Yeah, don't come to our house. So I thought of that with the person standing in the street.
The guy woke up and said, somebody's here, to his wife who's fast asleep. Like he woke her up and like, go handle your business, dog. And if you're gonna call the cops, which is like, look, you should call the cops in those situations. Like, my mentality is ridiculous because I grew up in the Bronx or whatever. But, okay, wake up, tell your girl you need to go to the bathroom or whatever, go to the other room and call the police. Why wake her up and terrify her?
So wake her up and lie to her, he said.
No, go to the bathroom and call the police.
You are making me more scared by the minute. I had a dream last night. You actually had 2 wives before me.
That would never happen. That would never happen. You would You would never even know. You would never even know.
So I thought of that situation, and then I was thinking about
unless you know
there was not enough pacifism in your heart.
I just don't understand that mentality. Wake up your wife and terrorize her. Well, handle your business, bro.
Anyway, so I thought of that. Then I was like thinking, like, because to me, first of all, I don't know what was happening in the video. To me, it was a home invader. Like, that's what it was.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't. He wasn't coming home. It was that he was first standing on the street, and then he tagged the house he was going to go into, and then he's going in, and like, but he didn't look like a big brawly guy. He was like all like small and stuff, which to me is like almost more scary, because it's like, you should know that you're not safe in a situation where you're invading somebody's house. But the fact that somebody that's like that, to me, is like, you remember that character on The Dark Knight with the Joker? Remember there was another guy that that the Joker ended up using, and they were trying to get information out of that guy, but that guy was just completely crazy, and you weren't going to get any information out of him, and he really wasn't fearful of stuff. You remember that guy?
The Joker?
No, it wasn't the Joker. The Joker used somebody that was crazy like him.
I don't know.
Well, anyway,
Two-Face? The lawyer?
No. It was just this other guy.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
So, it was pretty creepy, and like they were trying to get information out of him. Two-Face was trying to, before he became Two-Face, was trying to get information out of him, and the guy was like, ah! Like they couldn't get no information. He was like laughing and scary, and anyway, so I was thinking, like, if somebody that's like that has completely lost their mind is like coming into your home, to me that's a little bit more scary than somebody that that's like coming in because they're trying to get your stuff, you know what I mean? Like, well, I can just leave or whatever, but somebody that's crazy, like, you don't know what they're gonna do. But anyway, so, and like this, when he was going up the stair, and I was like, okay, is there somebody in that room, or is he just going to bed? Like, what situation is this? Like, I don't know if this is his home or not. And like, he like went up the stairs, and then he's back down, and he goes back up the stairs, and like, I kept having that feeling every time he went to the top of the stairs, and then he kept landing back down there. So I'm like, can you just go in the room so I know what's going on here? But yeah, I think it was his house, though. It kind of looked like he went to bed.
No,
you got up there?
Well,
there's somebody who was laying in the bed, but I couldn't really.
The lyrics were guiding to me how I interpreted what this guy was doing. So lyrically, it's talking about fleeing the ether, dead in a curse, the dead in a cursed realm of constant torture, which I'm assuming is this mortal plane, tearing away this veil of ignorance that past the boundaries of the flame. The flame, I thought, was, everybody says we have a divine spark, sort of like a secularized way of talking about the image of God. So. Surpass the boundaries of the flame, tenuous ego, that feeble grace, endless well of disappointment, life and the luster that consumes it is the extinguished flame burning secretly as in the furnace from these dark eyes alone. Good night. These people, man, they can write, subhanallah. By solemn vision, bright silver dream, infancy nurtured, constructs a form. Every sight, every sound creates the impulse, distorts the dream. That solemn vision dried upon our thirsting lips, and we are hung shapeless bone decayed within withered skin. So I took this as the person wants out of this world, and so the guy going up the stair or attempting to go up the stairs, the guy attempting to cross the street, he's trying to get somewhere. He's trying to get to some sort of destination, and no matter how hard he tries, he can't get there. So I didn't imagine the guy as a home invader, but sort of like a lost soul trying to, and maybe even like a ghost type situation, because you never really see the guy's face. He's kind of anonymous to some degree, which I just thought, like, because a lot of these bands, these experimental bands, like, they don't have a lot of money to work with. So I thought they did an excellent job. I
thought we did see
being able to.
Who was on the bed though? You saw face.
You saw a face on the bed? I don't know.
He goes up,
you made the thing
goes
so
up,
small
goes
because we had the lyrics there, so I didn't share it.
It's all right here. Ugh. See?
Yeah, there's like one clip at 4:53 where you kind of see the guy's face, but it's still, you really don't see his, like, you don't see his eyes, which is kind of, whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought they did a really, really good job with the video, but yeah, like, they were, it looks like the guy's trying to search for something or trying to attain some sort of thing and get to some sort of place. And, like, who is he looking at right there, when he's looking at the bed or whatever? And
I don't know. That's why I said.
Like so anyway, and when you look at the lyrics, it's kind of, it's talking about life in this world, and he's talking about like you're using your ego as a feeble brace, and it's an endless well of disappointment. I think it's one of those things where if you're trying to figure out a reason to live every day, I think this song is probably saying it's all going to be based in the ego somehow, some way, because it's something. It's about self-reflection. It's something about the self, which is one of the very handy things about being a theist, and particularly a Christian theist, because you can focus outside of yourself, and so the focus isn't on the ego. The focus is on actually the gift of self-forgetfulness. I think is what John Piper said, which is such a provocative phrase for me, because the more and more you interact with other human beings, like everybody's kind of searching for those moments where they're so entranced by something or someone that they forget themselves, and they're completely in the center of another realization of another person's being, which is what it means to worship ultimately as a Christian. But here, if you don't have that and you're just kind of stuck within, you're folded within yourself. And I think Lewis basically said that like hell was just a constant folding into yourself more and more and more and more, which is, when you look at the Great Divorce, the people that made it to heaven were the people that were able to sort of let go of the ego, and the people that didn't were the people that were just continually becoming smaller and smaller people, because they were continually folding into their own ego, which is, as we always say, sin is its own punishment. Like when God's mad at you, he doesn't, throw down fire and brimstone and all that. I mean, as a matter of fact, usually when God throws down fire and brimstone, he's trying to get your attention. But if he's really pissed off at you from a biblical perspective, he just leaves you to yourself, and then you kind of fold into yourself. So it says, by solemn vision, by a bright silver dream, infancy nurtured constructs the form. So there's that, to me, was like the fulcrum of the song, because that to me is what he was searching for. The bright silver dream that's sort of infantile in its naivete when you're younger, like you feel like that the world is kind of silver and all the rest of it, but then when you get older, that bright silver dream basically becomes, well, there's a silver lining. Like reality becomes this horrible dark cloud, and all you get in the silver is just a lining. By the way, shout out to Silver Kyrie. All you get is a lining, whereas here, when you're young and you're in an infantile state, the whole world is silver, and then there's just a little black lining, where whatever, and then as you go on, it switches. That solemn vision dried upon our thirsting lips, right? Like that's the flip from a silver a silver world with a black lining versus a black world with a silver lining. And we are hung shapeless bone decayed within the withered skin. And so like he kind of amoebizes the skeleton within us, so that we're shapeless bone within the withered skin, because he's beginning to lose a sense of purpose or whatever meaning in life, and so that's what he ends up becoming. This thing by Sage said that the genre was, what did he call it? Noise, experimental, doom, whatever?
Just click on there and I put it over. It was experimental sludge, drone, doom metal, noise, industrial.
So here's the thing. We've listened to a couple of these noise things. Like, on the one hand, it is just noise, but there's... What I like about the noise genre, whatever, is that they still make it rhythmic.
Yeah, I think that... I'm pretty sure I heard one of them where I didn't like the noise. I was like, that was literally just noise. And I felt like it was just like...
Right, there's some bands that
But this one, I agree with you, had more rhythm to it. It seemed like a song.
There was there was like a logos to the noise.
Yeah.
Like there was like a... It was going somewhere, and if you were wise enough to catch it, this is one of those things where if it wasn't for the channel, I wouldn't be able to understand what's happening sonically.
Oh.
Because...
no way.
Yeah, and especially this particular alliance, like shout out to all of our alliances, but they'll challenge you. Like this particular alliance will challenge you with very... So this songs like this, and then Anarchy 99 had that very, very disturbing song about the serial killer lady. That was a challenging song to listen to, but this alliance I appreciate because they'll challenge you with different types of things, and like maybe a year ago, like, man, that's just noise, it's a 2. But now, like, our brains have become like acclimated to so many different genres, which people always ask us, like, what's the biggest difference in listening to the channel, and that's one of them. Is that our brains have been able to. I really believe there's like different pathways now that are saying, oh, we're listening to this, we're listening to this, we're listening to this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So I actually like the noise in this. I like the way they did the noise here. Maybe it's not like true cult noise because maybe it's not supposed to be rhythmic and have any sort of logos to it. But I enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed the lyrics and I enjoyed the video. Like this, lyrically, sonically, and visually, for the amount of money that this band must have, which is not much, right? I thought they did a really, really good job all the way around.
I agree. And
I think that, they know that they have a very strong lyricist, and they had a video that was stripped down that made it so that, it was very entrancing, but I was still looking at the lyrics. A lot of times, like, I gotta go back and forth, between looking at the video and looking at the thing. And but this one, you were able to combine both of them. So, very, very good song. Very interesting song. What do you give it?
8.9.
That 9.6 for me. And a lot of that had to do with the video and just the entire package. 9.6. Very, very good song. Whoever made that selection, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.